In some historical texts, there are always various canon fodder characters who are unwilling to die. They are willing to pay the price of their souls and let others fulfill their wishes for them. The main attack is just a scumbag, a top-tier abuser, and killing is just a basic operation. World 1. Obese women in the 1960s unable to strive for love. World 2. Early death of military sisters in the 1960s wants to have children. World 3. The scumbags of the 1970s. Other tentative. Chapter 1. Obese female 1 in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Niña, even if I beg you not to be good, please don't pester me anymore. Xiao Rongyuan forced a face and looked at the chubby girl in front of him. I really don't like you, and you don't want to see how fat you are. Just your pig-like appearance makes me feel nauseous just by looking at you. How could I possibly fall in love with you, so let me beg you and let me go. I was forced to come to the countryside by you, why are you still haunted? Xiao Rongyuan is really going to cry. If possible, he really doesn't want to make things sound so unpleasant. After all, he and Ningyi grew up together since childhood, and their relationship was still very good before the age of 18. But who would have thought that at the age of 18, Ningyi would suddenly confess his love to him, which really scared him. What's even more frightening is that he has already refused, but Ningyi has started to cling to him relentlessly. In short, it drove Xiao Rongyuan crazy, so he decided to sign up to become an educated youth in the countryside. But unexpectedly, he had only been in the countryside for half a month when Ningyi chased after him. Does this mean we have to fight him to the death? So don't blame him for speaking poorly. Ningyi just finished accepting the memories of the original owner, feeling speechless in her heart. Niña is a fast-wearing taskmaster, named after the original owner, who specifically accepts some fast-wearing taskmasters who are willing to give their souls and help them fulfill their wishes. The original owner was just a love brain. In his past life, after listening to Xiao Rongyuan's words, he even jumped into the river to commit suicide. According to reason, they have all died, so they should have given up on Xiao Rongyuan, right? But the original owner didn't have it. He would rather pay the price of his soul than have Xiao Rongyuan fall in love with her and marry her. To be honest, Ningyi has always been puzzled as to why so many souls are willing to contribute their souls and let others fulfill their wishes. Just like the original owner. Even if Ningyi helps her fulfill her wish, the person Xiao Rongyuan loves is also Ningyi, not the original owner. However, despite such roast, Ningyi still hopes that more souls like the original owner will be better. In that case, she won't lose her job. I understand. Ningyi lowered her head and said, I won't bother you again in the future. Even if we meet, we will still treat each other as strangers. In short, I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused to you during this period. I hope you don't argue with me because we grew up together. Xiao Rongyuan was originally a person who ate soft rather than hard. Upon hearing Ningyi say this, he immediately felt guilty and wondered if what he had just said was too much. I was about to apologize to Ningyi, but as soon as I thought about Ningyi's entanglement with him, I quickly stopped him. He finally made Ningyi die, but he couldn't let her revive. I'm glad you can figure it out. Anyway, I can never like you. I hope you keep your word and don't keep pestering me, he said as soon as the words fell. Xiao Rongyuan quickly stood up and left, looking a bit like he had fled in despair. Cut. Ningyi snorted disdainfully as she watched Xiao Rongyuan leave behind. If it weren't for the wishes of the original owner, otherwise just a little kid like Xiao Rongyuan wouldn't even take a second look at Ningyi. Xiao Rongyuan is only 1 year older than the original owner and only 19 years old this year. For an old monster like Ningyi who doesn't know how long she has lived, Xiao Rongyuan is certainly a little brat in her eyes. Moreover, she still prefers more mature men. Then Ningyi walked towards the direction of the village chief's house. Lyoda village is the hometown of the original owner's father. When the original owner's father joined the army to fight, it was only then that the carp leaped over the dragon gate and became a high-ranking official. Even Xiao Rongyuan's father is from Liuda village and grew up together with the original owner's father. However, compared to the Xiao family, the Ning family no longer has any relatives in Liuda village. Ning's parents only have one son, and the two elders had already passed away when the original owner was 10 years old. Also, the biological mother of the original owner passed away during childbirth, and Ning's current wife is the cousin of the original owner's mother. Back then, Ning's father married her mainly to take care of the daughter of the original owner, fearing that her stepmother would abuse her, so he married his wife's cousin. It is worth mentioning that the mother of the original owner is the true love of Father Ning, and Father Ning feels a precious pain for the daughter of the original owner. As for the stepmother of the original owner, she is really good to the original owner, even better than her two children. It is also because of her love for the original owner that Ning's father trusts her very much. But there is another way to say that this stepmother is good to her stepchildren. That's to cheer and kill. The fool of the original owner couldn't see the malicious thoughts of his stepmother, but Ning Yi, who inherited the memory of the original owner, could immediately see it. For example, the original owner secretly signed up to become an educated youth in the countryside behind Ning's father's back, which was influenced by the stepmother of the original owner. Even the original owner's flesh was fed by her good stepmother. As she walked, she pinched the excess fat on her stomach, and Ning Yi sighed helplessly. The original owner was only 1.6 meters tall at most, but he weighed a whopping 150 to 60 pounds. The stepmother of the original owner really put in a lot of effort. You should know that in this era of material scarcity, it is very difficult to cultivate a stepdaughter into a pig. And it is also because in this era of material scarcity, the stepmother of the original owner fed her like a pig, and no one else suspected the malice of that stepmother. Instead, they all praised her as a stepmother who really loved her stepdaughter, otherwise how could she have raised her stepdaughter so lucky? That's why Father Ning never doubted anything and was very grateful to his wife for taking care of her daughter so well. What, you said you want to renovate your old house? The village chief was surprised to learn about Ning Ye's visit. You're not used to living in a youth academy. Otherwise, how could you want to renovate your old house in a good way? After becoming a high-ranking official, Father Ning took great care of his hometown. Just like fertilizers and pesticides. If other villages want to get enough permits, it's just a delusion. Who caused a serious shortage of fertilizers and pesticides? But just because two high-ranking officials have emerged from Dailiu village, their village has no worries about not using enough fertilizers and pesticides. This also leads to the fact that the grain yield grown in their village is always higher than in other villages, and every time the grain is handed over, their village can always complete the task. So the banner of the advanced brigade has always been from their village and has never been snatched by any other village. Because of this, when Ning Yi returned to Dailiu village and became a rural educated youth, there was no need for Ning's father to specifically explain it. The village head and other village officials spontaneously took more care of Ning Yi. I'm not used to living here, but I want to renovate my old house. In fact, it was my dad who specifically instructed me to do it. Ning Yi told a lie without having to draft a draft. My dad always says that the house in my hometown is there, and the root is there. He had long wanted to come back and renovate his old house, fearing that it would collapse if no one stayed there for too long. However, due to work reasons, he couldn't make time to come back. So when I returned to my hometown to provide support, my father entrusted me with the renovation of my old house. Chapter 2. Obese Girl 2 in the 1960s. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. De Co Lois Ara Trong Quatrin Lay Text. Chapter 3. Obese Female Third Class in the 1960s. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lin Lijiao widened her eyes and looked at Ning Yi with an incredulous expression. I'm lying to you, Ning Yi. How could you say that? Even though I'm just borrowing money from you, how could you say that I'm lying to you? Ning Yi, you really let me down. Lin Lijiao looked at Ning Yi with tearful eyes and an accusing face. I have always regarded you as my best sisters, but I didn't expect you to treat me like this. Alright, put away your tears. It looks really nauseating, Ningyi said with a disdainful expression, followed by a cold and stern expression. Lin Lijiao, I used to be willing to play with you, so I don't care if you treat me like a fool. But now I'm not willing to play with you anymore. If you're sensible, you can spit out all the money you've cheated from me within half a month. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. As soon as she finished speaking, Ningyi walked towards the dormitory, too lazy to talk nonsense to Lin Lijiao anymore. Lin Lijiao's face darkened, and she was so angry that she wanted to scream. What the hell is going on here? Why suddenly, Ningyi turned into a different person? Is it true that Ningyi's silly appearance before was just a pretense from her? But is this possible? Why does Lin Lijiao not believe it so much? Also, she borrowed so much money from Ningyi that she had already spent a lot of money. Who has the money now to give back to Ningyi? Then Lin Lijiao immediately thought of Ningyi's stepmother. Now it seems that only that woman can help her. Unlike others, Lin Lijiao has long known that Ningyi's stepmother is not a good person. In order to support and depose Ningyi, that woman has been giving her many benefits over the years. Even this time when Ningyi went to the countryside to become an educated youth, that woman also promised her benefits. As long as she could help monitor Ningyi's every move, but if Fan Ningyi had any thoughts of returning to the city, she would immediately notify her. Of course, the most important thing is to make her find a way to keep Ningyi in the countryside forever. That woman promised to give her a large sum of money if she could handle this matter. However, Lin Lijiao doesn't have the courage to harm Ningyi. After all, she wants Ningyi to stay in the countryside forever. Apart from designing her to marry a rural person and kill her, what else can she do to make Ningyi stay in the countryside forever? Ningyi is his father's beloved treasure. Even if Lin Lijiao were given 100 courage, she wouldn't have the courage to harm Ningyi. At most, she dares to influence Ningyi's thinking, making her brain less intelligent. When Ningyi walked into the dormitory, she took a small mirror and looked at it. The original owner's skin was very white, and his facial features were also good, but one gain destroyed everything. If I were to lose weight, I would definitely be a little beauty. Of course, that's not enough. To capture a man's heart, one must be beautiful enough. Not to mention inner beauty, both men and women are visual animals. Being able to complete tasks with beautiful appearances is the easiest and quickest way. So some beauty pills and body pills in the system space are naturally the same. She just needs to be responsible for making herself beautiful, waiting for Xiao Rongyuan to automatically take the bait. A few days passed quickly, and Ningyi had already started working in the fields. Of course, due to the care of village officials, Ningyi only does some relatively easy work. For example, pulling grass is simply too simple for Ningyi. Meanwhile, Xiao Rongyuan, who was working tirelessly on the other side, was listlessly pulling grass. Village officials can open the back door to Ningyi, and the same goes for Xiao Rongyuan. Brother Yuan, I think Ningyi has really given up on you, the person who spoke called Luo Qinyu. I haven't even looked at you a little longer these days, so I don't think she will keep pestering you. So when should we go back? Anyway, Ningyi won't bother you anymore, and there's no need for us to stay in the countryside anymore. Luo Qinyu is also one of the second-generation soldiers, and he and Xiao Rongyuan are good brothers who grew up wearing a pair of pants. Therefore, seeing his good brother running to the countryside as an educated youth to avoid Ningyi's entanglement, he naturally followed Xiao Rongyuan to the countryside without hesitation. But the countryside is really tough. Although the work they do every day is too easy in the eyes of the villagers in Daliu village, Luo Qinyu still thinks it's very hard. I want to go back. Let's wait for a full year before we talk. Xiao Rongyuan said in a depressed voice, my father gave me a death order. Since I want to go to the countryside to become an educated youth, I have to stay in the countryside for at least a year. Xiao Rongyuan is the kind of rebellious child in the eyes of his parents. His father arranged for him early on and arranged for him to join the army when he was 18 years old. But Xiao Rongyuan is unwilling. Although he admires his father very much, it does not mean that he is willing to join the army. In short, Xiao Rongyuan did many absurd things in order to fight his father's wits and not enter the army. The reason why he signed up for rural support is not only to avoid Ningye, but also to make his father give up and stop thinking about him joining the army. Ah! Luo Qingyu looked mournful. 1 year, so we have to stay in the countryside for another year. Oh my goodness! Why don't God take me? Alright, look at your unproductive appearance. Isn't it just a year in the countryside? What's the big deal? Xiao Rongyuan rolled his eyes and said, Hey! Did you really give up on me, Ningyi? Why am I a little skeptical? You said she could have come to the countryside to pester me, but why did she really give up so easily? To be honest, even though Ningyi hasn't been bothering him anymore these past few days, Xiao Rongyuan still has a question mark in his heart. After all, they have all gone to the countryside to pester him. How could they give up just because of his unpleasant words? Shouldn't it be thinking of other tricks? For example, reduce his vigilance and give him a fatal blow. Brother Yuan, don't you think how poisonous those words you said are, Luo Qingyu said. She's still a girl no matter what she says. Even if she likes you so much, she still wants face, okay? Anla. Luo Qingyu patted Xiao Rongyuan's shoulder. I see that Ningyi really has a heart for you. The old house of Ningye's family is already being renovated, and she probably wants to move out of the educated youth academy. If she can try to avoid you as much as possible, she will avoid you. What? Xiao Rongyuan exclaimed in surprise, I don't know why Ningyi wants to renovate their old house. Ah. So you didn't know. I thought you had heard about it a long time ago. Luo Qingyu was surprised now. But it's not too late to know now. Anyway, you can rest assured that Ningyi has already given up on you completely. Ah. Xiao Rongyuan sighed, actually, if possible, I don't want to say such unpleasant things to hurt Ningyi. After all, no matter what, we grew up together from a young age, but now we're doing worse than strangers. Why does my heart feel so uncomfortable? Chapter 4. Obese Female 4 in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alright, you shouldn't be too pretentious, Luo Qingyu said with an unbearable expression. It's really a case of getting a discount and being a good girl. I can't stand you enough. Luo Qingyu and Ningyi naturally grew up together, and their relationship is quite good. If it weren't for Xiao Rongyuan, otherwise he wouldn't be so distant from Ningyi now. But now that Ningyi is no longer entangled with Xiao Rongyuan, can he ease the relationship with Ningyi? After all, I am still a friend who grew up together since childhood. It is inevitable that I feel a bit regretful to be estranged like this. Roll on, what kind of bullshit, buddy? I think you're deliberately trying to anger me. Xiao Rongyuan said in a low voice, Go away, go away. Luo Qingyu stood up, threw away the grass in his hand, and patted the soil in his hand. Do you think I'm willing to stay by your side? I'm going to apologize to Ningyi right now. For your sake, I won't even talk to Ningyi on my own. I need to quickly find her to apologize, otherwise the relationship we grew up together from a young age may really be broken. As soon as the words fell, Luo Qingyu walked towards Ningye. This has infuriated Xiao Rongyuan. It's really opposite sex and inhumane. No, this statement cannot be applied to Luo Qingyu and Ningyi. Ningye, are you too serious about your work? When Luo Qingyu found Ningye, he saw weeds piled up beside her, and his tone was quite surprised. You're stupid. Why are you working so seriously? We don't expect that little bit of work. Ningyi looked up at Luo Qingyu and said, Luo Qingyu, what are we here for in the countryside? Aren't we just here to work? If you don't work actively and have ideological problems, I think you are a bad person with ideological problems. Be careful, I will report you. Alright, you've educated me, Luo Qingyu crouched down and said, but to be honest, I never expected that your ideological level would be quite high. Then Luo Qingyu looked at Ning Ye's plump body and said, it seems that being overweight also has its benefits. Seeing that you're not tired at all, it's much better than me. And this is still me slacking off. If I had to work as seriously as you do, I would have been exhausted long ago. By the way, Luo Qingyu's expression became gossipy. You really gave up on Brother Yuan. I see these days, you're too lazy to even give him a glance. Otherwise. Ning Yi sneered, I do like Xiao Rongyuan, but I didn't like him either. I liked him so much that I even lost my basic self-esteem. Xiao Rongyuan's words are so unpleasant. If I continue to pester him, then I am really too cheap. Get away from me, Ning Yi looked at Luo Qingyu with an indescribable disgust. Aren't you going to sever ties with me? Why are you still coming to my side? No way, Luo Qingyu said with a pleasing expression, we grew up together from a young age. How could I possibly sever ties with you? Alright. It's all my fault, I apologize to you. You have a lot, don't argue with me. I'm sorry, I'm a woman and I don't have a lot of adults, Ning Yi Bunyao Luo Qingyu said. Roll on, I don't have friends like you. Since you unilaterally didn't talk to me for Xiao Rongyuan's sake, you Luo Qingyu has no longer been my friend. Of course, Luo Qingyu cannot leave. He came to seek forgiveness from Ning Yi, how could he just leave just because Ning Yi said a few unpleasant words? Ning Yi naturally wouldn't really sever ties with Luo Qingyu, after all, this is a very good chess piece. So Luo Qingyu voluntarily rolled over and prepared for her to use, how could she not use it? When she returned to the Educated Youth Academy after finishing work in the afternoon, Lin Lijiao held a steamed bun and kindly handed it to Ning Yi, saying, Ning Yi, I'll bring you a steamed bun. You should eat it quickly. Lin Lijiao has been trying to please Ning Yi these days, but no matter how much she tries to please her, Ning Yi just likes to ignore her. This really panicked Lin Lijiao, she couldn't even care about Xiao Rongyuan. So she quickly took a day off again today to go to town and call Ning Ye's stepmother, reporting Ning Ye's abnormal situation in the past few days to her. As for why she asked for leave again, of course it was because Ning Yi asked her for money that day, and the next day she took leave to go to town to call Ning Ye's stepmother for money. Threatened her that if she didn't help her return the money to Ning Yi, she would encourage Ning Yi to leave the countryside immediately. Ning Ye's stepmother certainly wouldn't want her to leave the countryside, so the money has already been sent to her. Do you seem to be quite wealthy? Ning Yi wrung out the towel and wiped her face, saying, otherwise, you'll be running to town these past few days and have some spare money to buy steamed buns for me to eat. So I don't understand. You have money in your pocket, why don't you return it to me? Ning Ye, I didn't want to repay you, Lin Lijiao immediately became aggrieved, as if Ning Ye had bullied her. I took a leave of absence to go to town to call my home and ask my mother to quickly transfer money to me. I'm taking a day off again today, mainly to go to the town post office to see if my mother's money has arrived. Ning Ye, I will definitely repay you the money, Lin Lijiao's eyes filled with tears. Can you not always force me to repay the money? Do you know that you are doing this? I really feel uncomfortable in my heart. Or, in other words, what did I do wrong? So much so that you wanted to break up with me. Although you didn't say anything about breaking up with me, your attitude towards me these past few days has always shown that you want to break up with me. I just want to break up with you, so can you get out of here? Don't come bothering me. Just as Ning Yi finished speaking, Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu happened to walk into the courtyard of the Educated Youth Academy. Lin Lijiao's eyes flashed with a flash of light, and then she covered her mouth and ran towards the outside of the Educated Youth Academy, crying. When running to Xiao Rongyuan's side, he pretended to accidentally bump into him and said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I. Woo-woo." Lin Lijiao pretended to be unable to speak anymore and quickly ran outside the Educated Youth Academy. "Are you sick?" Luo Qingyu said speechlessly, then came to Ningye's side and asked, "Ningyi, you had an argument with Lin Lijiao, otherwise how could she cry like that?" Lin Lijiao is Ningye's little follower, and Luo Qingyu and Xiao Rongyuan naturally know her, but they didn't take her seriously. After all, the second generation of soldiers like them in the military district compound have a balance in their hearts. People from different circles generally do not go to deep friendship. Lin Lijiao's father is just one of Ning's subordinates, and Luo Qingyu and Xiao Rongyuan naturally do not treat Lin Lijiao as friends. They have always only treated her as Ningye's little follower. Arguing, Ningyi sneered, "Does Lin Lijiao deserve to argue with me?" Chapter 5. Obese Female 5 in the 1960s. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. That's true, Luo Qingyu nodded. That's because you unilaterally bullied Lin Lijiao. Didn't you always like your little follower? Why did you suddenly feel willing to bully her? It's just a little servant. Bullying means bullying. Why are you talking so much? Just then Xiao Rongyuan walked over. "Ningye, why do you suddenly want to renovate your old house? No, don't you want to keep pestering me? Why do you still stay in the countryside?" "That's right." Luo Qingyu followed suit and asked, "Ningyi, since you've given up on Brother Yuan, why do you still stay in the countryside? Let your father take you back quickly." "You think I don't want to?" Ningyi gave Luo Qingyu a cold eye, and then he looked dejected. "Because I secretly signed up to go to the countryside, my dad got so angry with me that he almost got angry to death. So I really dare not call my dad at the moment and ask him to take me back immediately, let alone since I have already come, and it's quite interesting in the countryside. So I plan to stay in the countryside for 1.5 years, until my dad's anger subsides, and then let him take me back." As soon as she finished speaking, Ningyi looked at Xiao Rongyuan with unfriendly eyes and said, "Xiao Rongyuan, if I say I won't bother you, then I really won't bother you. Please pay attention to what you say to me in the future. If you dare to speak to me in a questioning tone again, be careful that I won't be polite to you." What did I ask you?" Xiao Rongyuan said falsely with dim sum, "I don't just ask why you still stay in the countryside, why do you ask? Besides, shouldn't I have a question mark in my heart? If you say you don't bother me, then you really don't bother me. How come I don't believe it so much?" "Ningye," Xiao Rongyuan pleaded as he looked at Ningye, "I really don't like you. Of course, I don't really dislike you for being overweight, but I've only regarded you as a good brother since I was young, and never as a girl. So please don't like me anymore, I really." Bang! Ningyi kicked Xiao Rongyuan directly in the stomach and said fiercely, "Get out of here. You really think you're a sweet potato? I really have to do with you." The original owner was inherently domineering and very selfish, so Ningyi only followed the original owner's temper with this move. As for the original owner's cultivation of a domineering and selfish nature, this can certainly be attributed to the credit of her stepmother. What disappointed the woman was that no matter how bad she had taught the original owner's character, in the eyes of Father Ning, her precious daughter was still 1,000 good. "Ningye, you're so ruthless." Xiao Rongyuan covered his painful stomach with one hand and gave Ningye a thumbs up with the other. It can be seen from this that Xiao Rongyuan was not angry and was kicked by Ningyi. "You deserve it, who said you deserve it?" Luo Qingyu didn't pity Xiao Rongyuan at all. "They even said Ningyi wouldn't bother you anymore, but you pretended to be sentimental and felt that Ningyi didn't give up on you." Xiao Rongyuan glared at Luo Qingyu with hatred. How did he only realize today that Luo Qingyu had such a disliked side? Meanwhile, outside the Educated Youth Academy, Lin Lijiao had a calm face and didn't know what she was thinking. She has always been clear that people like Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qinyu look down on her. If it weren't for Ning Ye's relationship, Xiao Rongyuan and the others wouldn't have had any interaction with her. But so what? She likes Xiao Rongyuan, and whenever there is a chance to leave a deep impression in his heart, she will not hesitate to do it, even if it will make Ning Yi angry. She looked like that just now, probably in Xiao Rongyuan's heart there should be some impression. After all, men are all affectionate towards women. Seeing her being bullied by Ning Yi and crying like that, Xiao Rongyuan had no idea in his heart. What is more distressing now is that it is Ning Ye's attitude towards her, and coupled with what she just did, it is estimated that Ning Ye's attitude towards her will be even worse. Lin Lijiao frowned, almost annoyed to death. Meanwhile, on the side of the Kyoto military aircraft complex, Lu Jiaying has been thinking about Lin Lijiao's words. Is it true that after only a few days in the countryside, Ning Ye's dead girl has become smarter? Otherwise, how could she suddenly not be fooled by Lin Lijiao? Lu Jiaying had suspected that Lin Lijiao was lying to her, and as for why she was lying, of course it was for money. After all, when Lin Lijiao opens her mouth, she only wants 300 yuan. However, upon reflection, Lin Lijiao probably didn't have the courage to lie to her. Strange, Lu Jiaying muttered to herself, why did she suddenly become abnormal? It's hard for that dead girl Ning Yi to have her mind really enlightened. Ha! Then Lu Jiaying sneered. Even if Ning Ye's dead girl really has her mind enlightened, what then? Since her dead girl has already gone to the countryside, don't expect to come back again. It was also because of the idea of not letting Ning Yi come back that Lu Jiaying was willing to remit 300 yuan to Lin Lijiao. She knew that Lu Jiaying was timid and didn't dare to harm Ning Yi, but human greed is endless. When greed reaches a certain level, there is nothing to be afraid of doing. Lu Jiaying believes that Lin Lijiao will definitely not disappoint her. In fact, when Lu Jiaying first married Ning's father, she genuinely wanted to treat Ning Yi as her own daughter. But after she gave birth to her own child, Ning's father showed various biases towards Ning Yi, as if only Ning Yi was his biological child, and the child she gave birth to, Lu Jiaying, seemed to have been picked up. In short, Lu Jiaying's heart is unbalanced. Therefore, she began to cultivate a twisted Ningye temperament, but what she did not expect was that no matter how domineering and selfish Ningye's temperament was, in the eyes of Ningye's father, her precious daughter was still very good. Even the fat on his body made Lao Ning feel that his precious daughter was so lucky. There is no hint of disdain at all. This made Lu Jiaying even more unable to accept it, which was why she seduced Ning Yi to sign up for going to the countryside. To keep Ningye in the countryside forever. Whether it's marrying a rural person or dying in the countryside, as long as you don't come back to this home and get in the way. Humph. She would rather be a nemesis to her biological mother at night. Why should she completely compare her children to Lu Jiaying? Everything in the Ning family, including the connections in Lao Ning's hands, will only belong to her daughter and son in the future. Don't expect anything from Ning Yi. Did the dead girl Ning Yi call back today? Ning's father asked as soon as he entered the door from outside. No. Lu Jiaying quickly got up and took the briefcase from Ning's father's hand. Why are you back so early today? It's not until 4 o'clock. I received a notice that I need to go to B province and take the train at 7 p.m., so I will come back early. You can hurry up and pack 2 sets of clothes for me later, Ning's father said as he sat down on the sofa. Chapter 6. Obese Women in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ning Yi, that damn girl, it's been a few days now. If you don't call me back, why don't you still keep talking to me? Although he spoke angrily, Ning's father's expression was filled with helpless indulgence. Damn girl, you really have no conscience. I don't even think about when she set off for the countryside. I gave her a whole 1,000 yuan and various tickets. If I were really angry, would I give her so much money in tickets if her dead girl secretly signed up for rural support behind my back? I don't know who my temper is like, why don't you understand my father's hard work at all? Lu Jiaying's face almost drooped. That's it. No matter how much money is given to that dead girl Ningyi, Lao Ning doesn't think it's too much. But on her 2 children, it would have completely changed, as strict as it is. Xiaoye is still young, just wait for her to be a little older, Lu Jiaying said gently. And maybe if Xiaoye stays in the countryside for a while longer, she will be able to understand. Only by going to the countryside to endure some hardships, Xiaoye will know that she has been soaking in a honey pot since childhood, and then she will understand your hard work. Ah. I hope so. Ning's father sighed, since she wants to go to the countryside to experience it, let her stay in her hometown for a while longer. Anyway, there's no need to worry about any danger in her hometown. Besides, that kid from the Shao family is also in his hometown, so he should be able to help take care of that dead girl. To be honest, if it weren't for his daughter signing up to go to the countryside to support her, Ning's father would never have allowed her to go to the countryside. After all, he couldn't have trusted his daughter to go to a place unfamiliar with her birthplace. Ning's father had no idea that his precious daughter had gone to the countryside for Xiao Rongyuan's sake, otherwise he would probably be furious. Lu Jiaying's eyes flickered with mockery. Letting Xiao Rongyuan take care of Ningyi is simply a joke. After all, Xiao Rongyuan only went to the countryside to avoid Ningyi. Half a month passed quickly. The old house of the Ning family has been renovated, and Ningyi plans to move in today. And it was at this moment that Lin Lijiao realized that Ningyi had renovated the old house of the Ning family. This can't really be blamed for Lin Lijiao's outdated information, who makes her disdain to deal with rural people. Even a few educated youth from the academy were too noble to deal with. Of course, except for Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu. But the problem is, Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu are simply lazy to pay attention to Lin Lijiao. Especially since Ningyi no longer needs her as a little attendant, she is even more lazy to pay attention to Lin Lijiao. Ningye, when will you renovate your old house? I don't know, Lin Lijiao said anxiously as she watched Ningye pack up. Do you really want to move out of the Educated Youth Academy? If you move out of the Educated Youth Academy, what should I do? Lin Lijiao couldn't control her anger anymore and roared angrily. Ningye, how could you do this? You know, it's because of you that I came to the countryside with you, so I can't figure out why you suddenly changed your way towards me. I've been trying to please you all this time, but you're just ignoring me. Ningyi, even if you are a death row inmate, there should always be a reason to be sentenced to death. I don't believe that you have been just playing with me all along. Anyway, you must give me a reason today, otherwise. Pop. Ningyi slapped Lin Lijiao successfully and made her shut up. What are you? What reason do you need me to give you? Lin Lijiao, have I always been too kind to you, causing you to have some illusions? Ha! Ningyi sneered, it's just a dog next to me. Here are a few flesh bones for you. What do you really think you are? Then Ningyi pinched Lin Lijiao's chin and said, Lin Lijiao, do you really think I can't tell you like Xiao Rongyuan? Accompanying me to the countryside, isn't it because you came to the countryside for Xiao Rongyuan? Humph. Ningyi let go of Lin Lijiao's chin with a cold snort. I don't want to talk to you. It's because you've been making me happy for so many years, I'm too lazy to argue with you. Otherwise, it would be light to kill you like a dog that treats the master like a fool. It's not like this, Lin Lijiao shook her head desperately, tears still flowing uncontrollably. Ningye, do you think too much? How could I possibly like Xiao Rongyuan? You believe me, I really don't like Xiao Rongyuan. Please believe in me, don't misunderstand me and just ignore me. I'm really angry with her. It was somewhere that revealed a flaw that made Ningyi know she liked Xiao Rongyuan. No wonder Ningye's temperament suddenly started to go against her, saying he would argue with her. It turned out that she also liked Xiao Rongyuan. Believe in you, Ningyi sneered, it's just a dog. If you hate it, just kick it away. I need to believe in a dog. Lin Lijiao, Ning Ye's expression became fierce. You have been bothering me a lot lately, and you are almost breaking through the top point of my irritability. You know, as a person, I have never had a good personality. I rely solely on my emotions and don't consider the consequences. So what should we do? I believe you have a bottom line in your heart. Ningyi put her hand on Lin Lijiao's shoulder and whispered in her ear, of course, if you have to continue showing off your intelligence to me, you must break through the top point of my irritability. Then you can give it a try, see if I'll go crazy, like killing you directly. As soon as she finished speaking, Ningyi was too lazy to take another look at Lin Lijiao and continued to pack her things. Lin Lijiao's expression was very complicated, and she suppressed the anger that was about to erupt. The feeling of oppression made her almost lose her sanity. Gripping her fists tightly, Lin Lijiao desperately told herself to calm down. Otherwise, if it really completely angers Ningyi, she will definitely go crazy and hit her again. She doesn't want to be slapped again. It can be seen from this that Lin Lijiao did not take Ning Ye's threat seriously at all, and was not afraid that Ningyi would dare to kill her. Ning Ye's belongings are not many, just the luggage brought by the original owner. So the things were quickly packed up. Lin Lijiao watched helplessly as Ningyi left the dormitory with something, and after some thought, she decided to follow her out. Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu knew that Ningyi was moving to the old house of the Ning family tonight, and they didn't go to work in the field this morning. So when Lin Lijiao and Ningyi walked out of the dormitory one by one, they didn't just see them. As soon as she saw Xiao Rongyuan, Lin Lijiao immediately had an idea. Xiao Rongyuan, can you help me explain it to Ningyi quickly? I really don't like you. If I dare to secretly like you behind Ningye's back, it will make me die from lightning strikes. Chapter 7. Obese Female 7 in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My grass, what are you going crazy about? Xiao Rongyuan was puzzled by Lin Lijiao's words. If you have any brain problems, go get treatment. Don't run out and scare people, okay? Lin Lijiao's face turned black and she couldn't even afford to shed tears. You really have a mental illness, no wonder Ningyi suddenly doesn't want you as a little servant. This was Luo Qingyo's voice. He quickly walked up to Ningyi and said, Ningyi, give me the things. Yuan Gu and I didn't go to the field to work this morning, just to help you move things. Thank you then. Ningyi naturally wouldn't be polite to Luo Qingyu. And Xiao Rongyuan immediately walked up to help pick up the things in Ningyi's hand, and then looked at Lin Lijiao next to Ningyi with a very disdainful look. I can tell you. Stay away from me in the future. If you dare to scare me again, be careful, I'll punch you. Xiao Rongyuan was really scared by what Lin Lijiao just said. Is this woman simply having a mental illness? They really like you, Ningyi said with a smile on her face. Otherwise, do you really think that Lin Lijiao is accompanying me to the countryside? They're just using the guise of accompanying me to the countryside for your sake, wanting to pursue my husband for thousands of miles. I really don't, Lin Lijiao shed tears again, crying pitifully. Ningye, I really don't like Xiao Rongyuan. Why don't you believe me? Woo-woo. What should I do so that you don't misunderstand me anymore? You quickly shut up. Xiao Rongyuan said impatiently, who are you pretending to show it to? It's really disgusting to look at it. Although he said that, in fact, Xiao Rongyuan felt a bit narcissistic in his heart. Is he really that handsome? Otherwise, why do everyone like him one by one? Sigh. Being too handsome is also a kind of annoyance, isn't it? Ningyi is just an example. A good friend who used to be good now has become somewhat estranged. Although Ningyi no longer entangled with him, Xiao Rongyuan was well aware that they could no longer return to the pure friendship they had before. As for Lin Lijiao, Xiao Rongyuan didn't even take her seriously. He is afraid of Ningye's entanglement, but if Lin Lijiao dares to entangle with him, Xiao Rongyuan will not be polite at all. He will definitely let Lin Lijiao taste the disgusting consequences of him. Alright, what are you doing with such a woman? Luo Qingyu said in a disdainful tone. She wouldn't even bother to talk to her at night. Why are you still talking to Lin Lijiao? Ningyi didn't say anything more, just walked outside the Educated Youth Academy. Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu naturally quickly followed suit, which made Lin Lijiao's facial expressions look grim with anger. At this moment, Lin Lijiao really hates Ningyi and wants to kill her. As for Xiao Rongyuan, Lin Lijiao naturally hates in her heart, but more importantly, she feels wronged. Isn't she just liking Xiao Rongyuan? Why did Xiao Rongyuan use such unpleasant words to humiliate her? When the three of Ningyi arrived at the old house of the Ning family, Xiao Rongyuan looked around and couldn't help but worry, saying, "This is too remote, isn't it? There aren't even any neighbors around. Is it really okay for you as a girl to live here?" That's right, Luo Qingyu followed suit. Ningyi, otherwise you should still live in the Educated Youth Academy. Otherwise, if something happens, you won't have time to regret it. What can happen? Ningyi said speechlessly. This is in Daliu village. Who dares not look at me and do something? As soon as the words fell, Ningyi went to push open the gate of the yard. The entire yard is clean, all the tiles on the roof of the house have been replaced, and the walls have been repainted with white ash. Overall, it looks very good, and Ningyi is still very satisfied in her heart. As the three of them walked into the room, they found that all the furniture was new. It can be seen that the village chief is very dedicated, even helping Ningyi replace the furniture. Not bad. Luo Qingyu looked at the house and put down his things. This is much better than living in a youth academy. No wonder you want to renovate your old house. Xiao Rongyuan nodded along, also feeling that this house was very good, much better than the Educated Youth Academy. If his father also has an old house in his hometown, he will definitely renovate it to live there. The situation of the Xiao family is different from that of the Ning family. Zhao's father has a big brother, so the old house of the Xiao family naturally belongs to Zhao's father. After Xiao Rongyuan arrived at Liuda village, he and Luo Qingyu had been eating at his uncle's house, and the two of them never ate at the Educated Youth Academy. Alright, you can go now. Ningyi immediately drove people away. Although I have taken the body slimming pill, I still need to take it slow to lose weight. Therefore, before losing weight, she doesn't want to waste too much time on Xiao Rongyuan. These days, her mouth is almost fading away from the smell of birds. Hurry up and drive Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu away, so she can immediately go out to the back mountain to search for wild game. Are you crossing a river and demolishing a bridge? Xiao Rongyuan put down the things in his hand. Forget it, I'm too lazy to argue with you. Then Qingyu and I will leave first. You live here alone, so be sure to keep the door open at night. Pay more attention, you know. As soon as they finished speaking, Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu left. And not long after they left, Ningyi also locked the door and left. There is a small road behind Ning's house that leads to the back mountain. However, this small path is rarely walked by the villagers, which leads to overgrowth of weeds and makes it difficult to walk. Of course, it's hard not to defeat Ningyi. She quickly arrived at the foot of the mountain and quickly entered the deep mountains. But what Ningyi didn't know was that Xiao Rongyuan and Luo Qingyu also came to the back mountain from another road. Not only does Ningyi's mouth quickly fade away the smell of birds, but the two of them are equally good. Brother Yuan, do you really think we can catch a wild chicken? Luo Qingyu said while swallowing. Oh my god. Whenever I think of chicken, my mouth water. I didn't crave too much meat at home before, did I? But when I came to the countryside, why did I crave meat so much? By the way, Brother Yuan, if we really catch a wild chicken, where should we take it to cook? We can't take it to your uncle's house to cook, right? After speaking, the expression on Luo Qingyu's face became distressed. Xiao Rongyuan's aunt is a very greedy person. If we really cook the wild chicken for her, he and Xiao Rongyuan probably won't be able to eat a few pieces of chicken at all. You haven't even seen the feathers of the pheasant yet. You're thinking about cooking it now. Xiao Rongyuan glanced at Luo Qingyu and then took out a match from his pocket. Put it away. I have plenty of preparation. Did you see this match? When we catch the pheasant, we'll just grill it on the mountain and eat it. It's not cheap. Where's my uncle and his family? Xiao Rongyuan dislikes his uncle's family except for him. If it weren't for the embarrassment of rejecting uncle's kindness, he wouldn't even want to eat at uncle's house. In less than a month, Auntie asked him for money twice behind her back, and her greedy appearance was really disgusting. Chapter 8. Obese Female 8 in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. If it weren't for not wanting to make it difficult for uncle, he would definitely have spoken out about Aunt's greedy character. Brother Yuan, you're still smart, Luo Qingyu flattered, thinking about things is thoughtful. That's right, don't even see who I am, Xiao Rongyuan said proudly, but soon he was unlucky. 2 hours later, when Ningyi came out of the deep mountains holding a few wild chickens, she suddenly heard the voice of Luo Qingyu. Help, help. Ningyi frowned and quickly ran towards the direction of the sound. When Ningyi saw Luo Qingyu, he and Xiao Rongyuan were trapped in a trap and couldn't get out. Ningye, Luo Qingyu cried fearlessly as soon as he saw Ningye. Brother Yuan was bitten by a snake. I wanted to carry him down the mountain, but I didn't expect to fall into this trap. Hurry up and find a way to get us out, otherwise Brother Yuan may not be able to do it. Xiao Rongyuan's situation at this time is not optimistic. Fortunately, Luo Qingyu still had some common sense. He tore his clothes and tightly tied his bitten calf with a cloth strip, preventing the snake venom from spreading further. Otherwise, Xiao Rongyuan would have died of poisoning long ago. However, despite this, Xiao Rongyuan's current situation is also very bad. If he is not sent to the hospital for treatment in time, his life may have to be handed over to him today. Of course, if it weren't for Ningye's appearance. Otherwise, given Xiao Rongyuan's current situation, if we were to take him to the hospital in a timely manner, it would definitely be more or less unfortunate and there would be no way to save him. Ningyi made some vines and pulled Luo Qingyu and Xiao Rongyuan out of the trap. Then he immediately used a knife to cut open the wound where Xiao Rongyuan was bitten by a venomous snake, and without much thought, he lowered his head to suck out the venomous blood. Luo Qingyu was shocked. Shaking his lips, he tried to stop Ningyi, but when he spoke, he couldn't speak. After all, he knows very well where Xiao Rongyuan was bitten by a venomous snake, and the poisonous blood inside must be sucked out as soon as possible. He never thought about doing this before, but isn't it that he doesn't have a knife in his hand? Xiao Rongyuan was deeply moved. Is Ningyi really that fond of him? So what should he do? Is it difficult for him to make a commitment, but he really doesn't like Ningyi? Ningyi didn't know what Xiao Rongyuan was thinking at this moment, otherwise he would probably slap him. When has it been? Why is my mind always thinking about some messy things? When the blood drawn from Xiao Rongyuan's wound was no longer dark red, Ningyi stopped and said, I'll go find some herbs, you stay here and watch Xiao Rongyuan. As soon as the words fell, Ningyi immediately ran towards the deep mountain direction. When she first came out of the deep mountains, she happened to see herbs that could treat snake venom. However, relying solely on that herb is definitely not enough. Ningyi can only take something out of the system space to completely eliminate the snake venom on Xiao Rongyuan's body. Brother Yuan, have you noticed how powerful Ningyi is? Luo Qingyu said with a look of admiration, she actually knows the herbs for treating snake venom. Fortunately, Ningyi is here. Otherwise, your little life would probably be handed over here today. Xiao Rongyuan's expression on his face was complex. You say, if Ningyi wants me to commit to him with a life-saving grace, what should I do? In theory, Ningyi saved my life. Even if she really wants me to commit to her life, it's not excessive. But I really don't like Ningyi. I can't. Stop and stop, Luo Qingyu couldn't bear to listen anymore. I'm talking to Brother Yuan, can you not think of some messy things in your mind? You promised me, you must be singing opera. Besides, Ningyi doesn't even bother you anymore. You probably can't figure out what it means to not bother by now, can you? Luo Qingyu really wished to hit Xiao Rongyuan's head. Not bothering means that Ningyi doesn't want to like you anymore. So please don't stink anymore, okay? I'm about to vomit. Xiao Rongyuan's expression smelled. You bastard, you dare to roast me. I think you just need to repair it. Although he said that, Xiao Rongyuan didn't really want to take action against Luo Qingyu. After all, in his current situation, how can he fight against Luo Qingyu? Ningyi quickly ran back. She put the herbal medicine in her hand and chewed it, then applied it to Xiao Rongyuan's wound. Then he used the cloth he had previously tied to Xiao Rongyuan's calf and wrapped the wound where he had applied herbs. Luo Qingyu, go pick up a few wild chickens over there and follow me down the mountain to my house. Ningyi instructed Luo Qingyu. At this moment, Luo Qingyu and Xiao Rongyuan noticed that there were several wild chickens tied up with vines in the nearby grass. Luo Qingyu's eyes lit up as he looked at Ningyi and said, Ningyi, you're really amazing, aren't you? You caught so many wild chickens. Luo Qingyu suddenly realized that he and Xiao Rongyuan were simply inferior. They also come up the mountain to catch wild chickens. But take a look at him and Xiao Rongyuan, and then take a look at Ningyi. Can't compare, can't compare. Otherwise, it's just that people are more popular than people, and goods are better than goods. Alright, it's just catching a few wild chickens. You look like you're not making any progress, said Ningyi, squatting down in front of Xiao Rongyuan. Come up. I'll carry you down the mountain. Looking at Ningyi's broad back, Xiao Rongyuan was stunned and said, You want to carry me down the mountain? Can you carry it? Otherwise, let Luo Qingyu carry me. Let me carry it. Luo Qingyu followed suit, you're a girl. Although you've gained some weight, you definitely don't have the strength to carry Xiao Rongyuan down the mountain. Do I have the strength? Just give it a try and you'll know, Ningyi looked at Luo Qingyu with disdain. If you're not too useless, would you need me to carry Xiao Rongyuan down the mountain? Luo Qingyu really wants to refute. But as soon as he thought about the hard work he had done carrying Xiao Rongyuan before, coupled with falling into a trap, he immediately dared not speak up. What are you still staring at? Ningyi turned her head to look at Xiao Rongyuan. If you don't come up quickly, you won't think the wound on your foot is all right, will you? Do you see these herbs hanging around my neck? They need to be boiled for you to drink as soon as possible in order to clean up the snake venom in your body. If you waste any more time, the snake venom in your body will worsen the damage to your body's nerves. Xiao Rongyuan immediately climbed up to Ningyi's body, but still worried, I'm very heavy. Can you really carry me down the mountain? Ningyi effortlessly lifted Xiao Rongyuan's back and said, Xiao Rongyuan, today I'll show you what it means to walk briskly like flying. I saw Ningyi carrying Xiao Rongyuan and quickly starting off. Wait for me. Luo Qingyu quickly went to pick up those few wild chickens and ran behind Ningyi. When Ningyi carried Xiao Rongyuan to the doorstep, Xiao Rongyuan was still in a chaotic state in the wind. And not to mention Luo Qingyu, he has just run to the foot of the mountain, panting heavily and looking almost breathless. Chapter 9. Obese Women in the 1960s. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ningyi carried Xiao Rongyuan into the room and immediately put him down on a chair to sit. Ningyi, are you really not tired at all? Xiao Rongyuan looked at Ningyi and swallowed his saliva, asking. In Xiao Rongyuan's eyes, Ningyi now is the kind of big shot that cannot be provoked. Do you think I look tired? Ningyi Bai glanced at Xiao Rongyuan and said, just sit here obediently. I'll go to the kitchen and boil medicine for you to drink. Boiling herbs is just a cover, just to make Xiao Rongyuan eat the detoxification pill. Damn it, if it weren't for Xiao Rongyuan being her target, she wouldn't be too lazy to give him the antidote pill. The village chief can be said to have considered all aspects for Ningyi. All the kitchen utensils have been prepared by Ningyi, and even about 10 pounds of grain have been prepared. Not to mention the oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar, they have all been prepared for Ningyi. It's really thoughtful. It seems like we need to take a wild chicken to the village chief's house tonight and thank him well. Just as Ningyi was cooking herbs in the kitchen, Luo Qingyu finally panted and walked into Ningyi's home. I can't do it anymore, Luo Qingyu collapsed on the ground as soon as he entered the door. I almost ran me out of breath. Hoo. As he spoke, Luo Qingyu took a few strong breaths before continuing, is Ningyi a devil? Otherwise, how could she still run so fast with you on her back? I really doubt if Ningyi is still the one we've known since childhood. By the way, how do you feel? Luo Qingyu stood up from the ground and sat down in the chair next to Xiao Rongyuan. Do you feel any discomfort? Otherwise, let's go to the hospital. Although he believed in Ningyi in his heart and Xiao Rongyuan seemed to be okay, Luo Qingyu felt it was better to go to the hospital for a check-up. No need, Xiao Rongyuan said, Ningyi has already gone to boil herbs for me. I believe Ningyi doesn't need to go to the hospital. However, Xiao Rongyuan looked at Luo Qingyu and said, why does Ningyi know herbs? And she also knows which herbs can clear snake venom. What you just said was not wrong. I really find Ningyi so unfamiliar now. Is she really the Ningyi we've known since we were young? Do you think it's possible for Ningyi to have a master like that from an extraordinary person? Luo Qingyu used his brain to say, it's definitely not wrong. No wonder Ningyi can look so different. Xiao Rongyuan looked at Luo Qingyu in confusion. The meaning seems to be asking, which one of Ningyi's looks is different? Luo Qingyu gave Xiao Rongyuan a disdainful look and said, Ningyi looks so fat, isn't it just that she's very different? Xiao Rongyuan gave Luo Qingyu a contemptuous look and said, I think you're just mentally ill, not just overweight. What's the connection between being different and being different? Are you having a mental illness? Luo Qingyu objected, anyway, I just believe that Ningyi's weight is not the same as that of an ordinary person. Her weight must be unique. Maybe it was because of practicing some unparalleled martial arts that she grew so fat. Hey! If I were to apprentice to Ningyi, would she accept me as an apprentice? Luo Qingyu looked at Xiao Rongyuan with bright eyes and asked. Xiao Rongyuan. Do you really think Ningyi has practiced some unparalleled martial arts? Isn't that nonsense? Luo Qingyu said with great certainty, if Ningyi hadn't practiced unparalleled martial arts, how could she explain why she could easily carry you down the mountain? You should know that with just your 1.8-meter tall stature, it's difficult to walk on your back, let alone run on your back, and this is still a man's situation. Ningyi is a girl who, besides being a little overweight, is as petite as a girl, but she can carry you down the mountain. Anyway, I don't believe that she doesn't have any real skills. So, Ningyi has really practiced some unparalleled martial arts. She really has a master of an extraordinary master. Xiao Rongyuan touched his chin and said, I made a mistake. If I had known that Ningyi had a master from an extraordinary master, then I shouldn't have said those unpleasant things to her before. Although I have apologized to Ningyi, it doesn't mean she really doesn't care anymore in her heart. That's it, Xiao Rongyuan said with an indescribable expression of regret. Ningyi will definitely not take me as his disciple. What should I do now? Is the brain circuit unique for teenage boys? Who said you have a cheap mouth? Luo Qingyu gloated, I'm different. Ningye will definitely accept me as his disciple. Xiao Rongyuan gave Luo Qingyu a fierce glare. This bastard, look at what he gave to me. I really wish I could give him a punch. The herbs are cooked, hurry up and drink them while they're hot, right? Just then, Ningyi walked in with the herbs from outside. Xiao Rongyuan quickly took the herbal medicine and immediately started drinking it. The taste is unpleasant, but for the sake of his own life, Xiao Rongyuan took the medicine seriously and took it bite by bite. Ningye, Luo Qingyu approached Ningye and asked with a pleasing expression, do you have a master? Has your master taught you some unparalleled martial arts? Ningyi looked at Luo Qingyu impatiently and gave him a blank glance. You've read too many novels, haven't you? What other unparalleled martial arts skills do you have? What kind of dream talk do you say in broad daylight? Oh my! Why don't you admit it? Luo Qingyu coquettishly said, we are friends who grew up together. Your behavior is not interesting enough. Luo Qingyu, Ningyi grabbed Luo Qingyu's ear, your damn brain is sick. A big man's spoiled behavior, do you want to disgust me to death? Let go, Luo Qingyu said with a painful expression on his face. You're about to pull my ear off, so hurry up and let go. Ningyi released her hand and kicked Luo Qingyu on the buttocks, saying, get out of my house now, don't continue to disgust me. I won't go, Luo Qingyu said confidently. Why should I go? Xiao Rongyuan is still here. How can I leave him alone? Don't talk about me, Xiao Rongyuan quickly said. I feel like I'm okay now. I can walk back on my own later, so you don't have to worry about me. I'll let you go at night, so hurry up and get out. Xiao Rongyuan, You're so inhumane, Luo Qingyu pointed at Xiao Rongyuan and said, it's fortunate that I still treat you like a good brother. I dare say that's how you treat me. You despicable person, it's really a waste of my wholehearted devotion to you. Xiao Rongyuan trembled with a cold and said, Ningyi is right. You're really disgusting enough. Subsequently, Xiao Rongyuan looked carefully at Ningyi and asked, Ningyi, do you really not have a master of an extraordinary master? Chapter 10. Obese Women in the 1960s. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. De co lois ara trong quatrin lay text.